Hey there guys, time for another vlog number 3. So the idea is 10 vlogs in 10 days. Now it doesn't have to be 10 days. The time is not the main thing, it's more about having the 10 vlogs and using that time to really debunk, demystify high performance and what that means and how you can adopt that and give you a way to apply that in what you do. What I'd like to do is sort of keep really developing the idea of or the theory behind it, so then there's a basis to then work with, and then I want to give you some examples, some stories in the latter half of the 10, and especially about some of my experiences at the moment, what I've sort of experienced. But before I get into that side, I want to thank you for again the interactions, the comments, the private messages. That's really good, and keep that coming. I love sort of having those discussions and hearing those thoughts on this and what that means to you. So last time we talked about goals and visions and having that plan around the goals and the benchmarks towards achieving those goals and creating those goals so that you can essentially create high performance within that area that you desire. So we hadn't quite closed off the planning stage, and I really want to sort of focus a bit more on the planning, because the planning then leads into the implementation, the action side. And whilst the plan is getting those steps 1, 2, 3, 4, A, B, C, D, where you can then build the vision of creating that high performance and keep that process moving and has the checks and balances that goes with it, there needs to be some very clear, it needs to be very well written, very well spoken, very well vivid, so that it is very black and white. There is no grey in there. You know exactly what you're doing, when you're doing it, and how you're doing it, and how you know you're achieving it. And that's much of what I said last time, because when you become the implementer, especially as a leader, you find that you have to adopt the role of either the architect, the designer, so that's of the plan and the solution, the vision and the why and the purpose. And then you've got to become the motivator. So you've got to, especially if you're working in a team, and even sometimes with yourself, you've got to be able to motivate yourself. You've got to be able to instill that idea within you and keep that idea going and flowing so that you can maintain that. Also, you've got to be able to motivate the team, the people around you, especially if you're in business, sport, that's the same thing. You've got to be able to sell the vision. Then you've also got to be the visionary itself. That is creating the visionary. So you've got the architect or the planner, the motivator, so selling the vision, and then the visionary is creating the visionary. And then you've got to be the coach or the mentor. That means you've got to pull people aside, or you might have to pull members aside or aspects of yourself, the team aside, and do that little bit of development, that little bit of self-development, that extra little bit of building that gets those people on board. Because I've been reading quite a bit of literature, reading on leadership and that sort of thing, and they talk a lot about the roles you've got to take, the responsibilities you've got to do as being part of the leading high performance, leading the change, leading the upgrades, delivering the vision. But they don't really talk about how and what that means. So, the architect is being able to go, well, these are the goals, these are the steps we need to take, and that they are vivid and they do involve the senses of the team and people involved. The visionary, that's obviously using the emotive language, creating the where are we now, why we need to change, what's the mechanism for change, what's the outcome that we want. Then and the visionary part is the first step of that. It's going, well, okay, this is what we want to create given what we have. Then you've got to sell that. And then the coach is going, well, these elements, these aspects are struggling, or these characteristics are holding us back. How do we change it? How do we develop? How do we move away from that? So that's where those key responsibilities come in to executing a plan, to then creating your own high performance. Obviously being 4 or 5 minute video, it's very hard to get into the depth and relate to this in a concrete level. But it's about getting the ideas flowing, getting the brain juices and the creativity sort of stewing and running to be able then to ask those questions and have those conversations. And that's what I'm here for, here to allow you guys to ask those questions of me, share that knowledge, and even to find ways or develop ways in which we can use that to create high performance from a goal and a vision to a plan to then getting that plan in action. So just a little bit on implementation. Thanks again for watching. Love the interaction and look forward to much more, and I really enjoy these conversations. So I look forward to hearing from you guys soon and speaking then.